In what political analysts are calling one of the most explosive developments in recent South African history, President Cyril Ramaphosa has reportedly been left reeling following the sudden issuance of arrest warrants linked to the controversial Naledi Pandor case. The warrants, targeting several senior figures within the African National Congress (ANC), have sent shockwaves throughout the ruling party, igniting panic, speculation, and intense political maneuvering behind closed doors. The Naledi Pandor, long a subject of heated debate and public scrutiny, has suddenly escalated into a full-blown political crisis with the announcement of these arrest warrants. Sources close to the presidency indicate that the warrants implicate individuals widely regarded as some of Ramaphosa's closest allies, raising troubling questions about the depth of corruption, influence, and power struggles within the ANC. The timing of the warrants, coming at a politically sensitive moment, has intensified fears that the ANC could be facing its most destabilizing scandal in decades, threatening to upend its fragile unity and expose internal fractures that have long simmered beneath the surface. Inside the ANC, reports suggest that top officials are convening emergency meetings, with high-level discussions focused on potential damage control, legal strategies, and leadership contingency plans. Whispers of resignations, reshuffles, and internal power realignments are reportedly circulating as leaders scramble to assess both the political and legal ramifications of the warrants. Analysts warn that the situation could trigger a domino effect, implicating additional figures and further destabilizing the party. The ANC has been caught off guard, said one political commentator. This isn't just about individuals facing legal trouble. It's a crisis that strikes at the heart of the party's credibility, cohesion, and governance. How the leadership responds will determine whether the ANC survives this storm or fractures under the pressure. The ANC, which has long struggled to balance reformist ambitions with entrenched patronage networks, now finds itself facing an existential test that could redefine its future and that of South African politics more broadly. The legal implications of the Naledi Pandor arrest warrants are vast. Legal experts indicate that court battles are likely to be prolonged and complex, potentially involving multiple jurisdictions, appeals, and high-profile testimonies from key political and legal figures. The case is expected to dominate South African media for months, shaping public discourse and influencing voter sentiment ahead of crucial political events. Public confidence in the ANC, already eroded by years of corruption scandals, is expected to be tested severely. Many citizens have expressed outrage over what they perceive as yet another example of corruption and the misuse of presidential power. The Naledi Pandor case, coupled with the arrest warrants, threatens to reinforce public perceptions that the party is grappling with internal decay and ethical failures at the highest levels. Social media platforms have erupted with heated debates, with citizens demanding accountability and transparency while opposition parties seize the opportunity to call for sweeping reforms and even early elections. The presidency has so far remained largely silent, though insiders suggest that President Ramaphosa is personally monitoring the situation with mounting concern. Sources indicate that he is consulting closely with legal advisors, security experts, and senior political strategists as he seeks to navigate this unprecedented political storm. Analysts note that Ramaphosa faces a delicate balancing act. He must uphold the rule of law while managing internal party tensions and preserving his own political authority. Observers also point out that his response, or perceived lack thereof, could redefine his legacy. This is a test of leadership like no other, one expert commented. The president's next moves will either cement his reputation as a decisive reformer or expose him to criticism for failing to control the party and the crisis. Ramaphosa's previous image as a reform-minded leader committed to transparency and anti-corruption efforts is now under threat. His handling of this crisis could either reaffirm his reformist stance or signal to the public that the ANC remains incapable of self-correction. Speculation within the ANC is rampant. Some insiders predict that the fallout could lead to a major reshuffling of party structures, with loyalists being replaced by emerging factions eager to consolidate power. Others suggest that the arrest warrants could prompt a wave of defections or even trigger leadership challenges at upcoming party conferences. Political observers are closely monitoring how key figures within the ANC respond. Early reports indicate heightened tension as leaders weigh public statements, legal options, and internal messaging. The uncertainty is feeding widespread speculation that further arrests, investigations, or revelations may be imminent, creating an atmosphere of anxiety both within the ANC and across South Africa's political landscape. The air in political circles is thick with rumors of secret meetings, backroom deals, and shifting alliances, as potential successes and challenges quietly position themselves for advantage in the event of Ramaphosa's political weakening. The consequences of the Naledi Pandor case extend far beyond the ANC itself. Analysts warn that the crisis could destabilize governance at multiple levels, with ministers, officials, and party operatives facing scrutiny and pressure from both the public and the judiciary. The arrest warrants may also have significant implications for upcoming elections, as opposition parties seize the moment to question the ANC's commitment to transparency, accountability, and ethical leadership. The ripple effects are enormous, one political analyst noted. This isn't just about a few individuals, it's about the credibility of governance, the stability of political institutions, and the trust of the electorate. The ANC must act decisively or risk long-term political damage. Already, opposition leaders are calling for parliamentary inquiries, while civil society groups demand independent investigations to ensure that justice is not compromised by political interference. The ANC's internal divisions are likely to deepen as the crisis unfolds. The party, already struggling to maintain unity amid ideological, generational, and regional rifts, now faces a moment of reckoning. Reformers are expected to use the crisis as evidence of the need for structural change within the party, while traditionalists may rally around embattled figures, portraying the arrests as politically motivated attacks on the ANC's leadership. The potential for factional violence or political retaliation cannot be dismissed. Provincial branches may become battlegrounds for competing narratives, further weakening the party's cohesion at a time when it can least afford instability. Senior ANC members who have long called for introspection and renewal are likely to press their case more forcefully, arguing that the party's survival depends on embracing genuine reform and distancing itself from corrupt networks. Beyond the political elite, the South African public is watching the crisis unfold with a mixture of outrage, skepticism, and weary resignation. Many citizens, disillusioned by repeated corruption scandals, have grown cynical about the possibility of meaningful accountability. Yet, there is also a growing sense that this case could represent a turning point, an opportunity to confront the culture of impunity that has plagued South African politics for decades. Civil society organizations, activists, and independent media are mobilizing to demand transparency in the handling of the case, while legal scholars debate its broader constitutional implications. The judiciary, too, finds itself under the spotlight, as it must demonstrate independence and integrity in adjudicating cases that could have profound political repercussions. For Ramaphosa, the coming weeks will be crucial. His ability to manage the crisis will not only determine his personal political survival but also the future of the ANC as a governing force. If he acts decisively, distancing himself from implicated figures and reaffirming his commitment to the rule of law, he may yet restore some measure of public confidence. However, if he is perceived as evasive, complicit, or overly protective of his allies, his presidency could rapidly unravel. Already, whispers within the party suggest that potential challengers are assessing their chances, with some speculating that internal leadership contests could emerge sooner than expected. The prospect of a fractured ANC entering an election season could fundamentally reshape South Africa's political landscape, potentially opening the door for opposition coalitions to gain unprecedented traction. As the Naledi Pandor case continues to unfold, South Africans are bracing for what could become a landmark moment in the country's democratic history. The coming days are expected to bring further revelations, legal developments, and political maneuvering, with each twist intensifying the uncertainty. What began as a controversial pardon has now evolved into a full-scale political earthquake, one that challenges the ANC's integrity, tests President Ramaphosa's leadership, and reshapes the nation's political narrative. The questions that loom largest are who will be held accountable, who will emerge unscathed, and whether South Africa's institutions are strong enough to withstand the shockwaves of this crisis. With tensions mounting and the future of the ruling party hanging in the balance, the nation waits to see how history will judge this moment as a collapse of credibility or the beginning of long overdue renewal in the corridors of power.